Hello, and welcome to today's episode of the Busy with Becca podcast, where I share tips to help reshape your mindset and develop a healthy perspective. A healthy perspective is key, especially when dealing with challenges and staying motivated to keep doing your best. I may not have all the answers, but I encourage you to sit back, pick a lesson or two as I dive in. Well, obviously, my setting has changed temporarily. I wanted to do something outside in the sun, bring the brightness into the video, but I'm slowly regretting my decision because there are bikes revving around, cars honking. But I hope it doesn't seep into the video or to the audio rather. And if it does, please just indulge me this one time and focus on the message and not the distractions. So let's get right in. So in our last episode, I spoke about, knowing the things to do and knowledge not being enough. Execution is the key. Following through, developing healthy habits is a form of discipline. But then I also mentioned that in this series, there are going to be two different episodes. So on one end, I spoke about action, like putting your thoughts into action, executing your plans, following through on things that you have been planning for a long time and just haven't gotten through to doing them. But today I want to talk about a different aspect, which is on restraint, learning to say no. Because it's one thing to know you should be doing a thing and to do it, and then it's another thing to stop the things that do not work for you, to stop the things that are not adding value, to creating boundaries between yourself and unhealthy decisions. Because it takes a lot of discipline, it takes a lot of will to restrain yourself from doing things that are harmful to your future, that are harmful to the people that you love, and just don't add up to things that add value to you. So that's what the focus is going to be on today. So, in conversations I've had and in things I've seen, I think a lot of people think discipline is about, waking up early, developing new habits, doing things, ticking stuff off your to do list. But some people forget or lose focus of the things they should stop doing. Learning how to say no to distractions, learning how to say no to impulses, learning how to say no to things that don't work for you or don't add value to you. And like I said, that's what today's episode is going to be for. Saying no to things that feel good in the moment but do not align to your future goals or to your future self might seem like an unnecessary restriction to pleasure, might seem like an unnecessary bar to you just relaxing. But then what you're inadvertently doing is wasting your time, wasting your energy, losing focus, and just not being in tune with your grand plan. So sometimes no is a very, very important component to your future goal. So connecting this to the previous episode where I said there are a lot of people who know the things they should be doing and then they don't do it, I'm going to flip it this time and tell you that there are things you need to stop doing, but then you're not allowing yourself. You keep giving excuses as to why you're still doing that thing. Be like, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. Oh, there's still time. Oh, I don't feel so good right now. Oh, this is so comforting. And there's so many things. It might be binge eating. It might be watching stuff you shouldn't be watching. It might be reading things that don't add value to you. It might be hanging out with people that not fit for where you are in your life right now, or will not take you where you're meant to be. It might be saying no to certain things at work that are unproductive. So let me even use the work thing. So there are so many people that fill up their time doing unnecessary things. You need to focus on the boulders and the challenges on your path and not the ones outside. So when you get distracted and do things that don't add value to you, you're wasting your time, you're not getting to your goal, you're just being busy but they're not being productive. So sometimes you need to stop and say, no, I'm not doing this. Oh, I apologize, I can't take this because I have this and this to do. And no is one of those things that are very uncomfortable to say. People find it hard to say no to things or say no to people because they don't want to offend them, even though it's for their long-term goal. Like people that say no are not the most liked people, if I'm being honest. Recording outside is not for the faint-hearted. My my stand just caved to the wind. Okay, so you may not be an alcoholic, but at the same time, you have a goal in mind. You want to lose some weight, or you want to be better with your diet, and you want to cut out some alcohol. And at first, it seems easy because you don't consider yourself to be an alcoholic person, or you consider yourself a social drinker. Now, the first time comes, you're going out with your friends, and they're like, "Oh no, I don't want to drink," and they're just like, "It's just a little, just have a little." You don't drink often. Like, why are you even so uptight about this? And then you take a little just so you don't feel like the odd one out. And then another time comes, you have friends over, you're drinking water, and like, oh, how can we be drinking and you're not drinking? I'm like, oh, just a little sip. Now that's a little, yes, but it's derailing you from your long-term goal of doing better with your gut, doing better with your health habits, not drinking. I may be like, yeah, and you start giving excuses. Yeah, that's the big thing. You start giving excuses. Well, after all, I don't take so much. Oh yeah, I just took it once, or just take it once a week, or I just took it once that week. Oh, but well, red wine is good for your heart, and all those things that people say. But it is still taking you away from your long-term goals, which is to lose weight, to make better health decisions, to treat your gut a lot better, to manage your liver better. And so just that's just a simple example. Same thing with comfort eating. You may not be overweight, you may not be fat, but then you've told yourself, you know what, I want to start eating healthy. I don't want to do too much. But then you find that you're always tempted to have a snack at night. Honestly, I'm guilty of this. So there's this weird thing I used to tell myself that, oh, if I don't eat something before I sleep, I can't sleep. So it may not be food, but I just need to snack or nibble on something. So I'd either have like popcorn or drink some. There's always something. And I used to tell myself like, oh, it's just a little. I'm not eating so much. I'm not doing too much. It's just, after all, I eat just once a day, so I need to indulge a little. Oh, I've had a long day at work, or this is a way that I want to like comfort myself, or while I'm watching something, or there's something to nibble on before I sleep. You see these little excuses, and it's not such a big deal, but in the long run, it has affected me, and I'm kind of like trying to work my way back to where I wanted to be. I got derailed. So this is a personal example of me not saying no when I needed to say no for the greater good. In that moment, it didn't seem like a big deal, but the little drops still filled the bucket. And there's so many areas that this thing can play out at work, with your love life, with your family, with your aspiration, anything you aspire to, or any goal you have. It may be a business deal, and you just say, well, okay, I was supposed to work on this report today, but then let me leave it till tomorrow. It shouldn't take me more than 30 minutes. And then you push it to another day, and it keeps piling and piling and piling because you're not saying no to yourself. Now, this is to yourself, and there are different layers to say no. So, to other people, to safeguard yourself, to safeguard your mental health, to safeguard your space, to safeguard things that are priority to you, you need to learn how to say no today for the greater good of tomorrow. Now, like I said, saying no is not the easiest thing to do. Let's talk about saying no to people. Now, people get easily offended when you say no, you cannot do anything, regardless of what your reasons are. Like, you almost need to create or curate a sub story to make yourself, or to even self deprecate yourself, so they can accept your no's, or either that, or you just inconvenience yourself because you don't want to be the bad guy. Sometimes you need to learn to be the bad guy. So, my encouragement in that regard is this: start saying no to the little things. Just say no, even if you don't have to. So you get comfortable with putting yourself first, putting your priorities first, putting the things you need to do first. So just say no. Say no to something small. But that's an aside. Now to our long term goals and say no. Like I mentioned before, say no is like say no to little things or little bad habits that you have also adds up to the yeses that you say to the things you need to do. So when you say no to something little, all those little no's add up to big changes. It doesn't have to be something drastic, like you just wake up and be like, oh no, I'm not going to. Anyway, I can't think of an example, but those little no's add up to big changes at the end of the day. Practically speaking, how do we start to say no? First of all, always have a roadmap, have a picture of what it is you want to do, where you want to go, what you're trying to stop, what you're trying to start. Have a pictorial representation in your head of what it is you want. Don't just say no for the sake of saying no. Don't just say no because you're trying to prove a point. Don't say no because of other people. Reflect, introspect. In fact, I think my favorite words to use when it comes to self development is introspection and self reflection. So, have a picture, figure stuff out, have a focus, have a plan. What is it that I'm trying to do, and what are the things I need to do to get to that point? And then you walk away from there. You now know the things you're trying to cut out, the people you're trying to cut out, the activities you're trying to cut out, while still planning on the things you need to start doing. So remember, if you missed the previous episode where I spoke about discipline in terms of actions and executions, please watch it before watching this, or watch it after you watch this, so you understand it's a holistic picture. Because while you're saying yes to certain things and pushing yourself to activate certain actions in your life, you also need to be saying no to other things, because you have the same 24 hours you had when you were a yes man or a yes woman. It's the same 24 hours you have now. So you're dropping some things to pick up something, and you're picking up some things to drop off something. Have a plan in mind. Find clarity of purpose. Clarity of purpose is so key on this journey to self-improvement, on this journey to self-realization, on this journey to self-actualization. Find clarity of purpose. Know what you need to stop doing now. So the reason why this is important is because at those moments when those difficult no's come up, the why you're saying no is what keeps you grounded. The why you're saying no is what keeps you consistent. The why you're saying no is what keeps you pushing through even when it feels difficult or feels uncomfortable. Once you found clarity, the next thing the next thing is for you to understand yourself. So be more self-aware. So you're able to catch yourself when you're going into the regular habit loop that you're used to, because now we're trying to change our habits. We're trying to stop doing certain things. We're trying to say no where we used to say yes. So you need to be more self-aware, be more self-attuned. And when you feel yourself instinctively trying to say yes to a thing that you want to stop doing, you catch yourself. So the first thing I said was finding clarity, clarity of purpose. Second thing is self-awareness. Be self-aware in those moments. So you need to be present all the time when you're out with people, when you're at work, when you're sorting out your life, when you're working, or even when you're just processing things. You need to say no to certain thoughts that don't add to you. So catch yourself in the moment, break that habit loop, and do the opposite of what you would have done by saying no, by drawing that line, by drawing that boundary. And the third thing would be always ask yourself, does this align with where I'm headed? So in while yes, you need to be self-aware, you also need to be putting yourself in check by asking questions at each turn of your journey. Does this align with where I am headed? Does this align with the kind of person I'm trying to be? If the answer is no, then you have your answer and you know what to do next. If the answer is, oh, it doesn't really have a bearing, then you can either do it or not do it. But I'd encourage you not to do it, to train yourself to learn how to set boundaries, how to say no. Some things are just so minimal, they don't really add or take away from the big picture, but you use them as stepping stones to being the person you're trying to be. And my final suggestion would be, don't overcomplicate things. Don't be so dramatic about it. The changes can be small, like I said, the little small changes, the little small no's, the little drops of no's can fill the bucket to make a big change. So it doesn't have to be something so drastic. If you say, oh, you want to stop taking sugar, you don't have to go into your pantry and just clear everything, empty it, go and spend so much money. Say you want to start dressing a certain way, you don't have to go into your closet, clear everything all at once. In little things, you can start making those changes. If you say, oh, I don't want to be out past 8 p.m. moving forward because I have a schedule of the new habit loop in saying yes, from 8 p.m. I need to be doing this at 9 and so. You don't need to cut everybody off and be like, no, I want to do this. You don't need to be talking about it all the time. It doesn't have to become a new identity that just takes over your mind. It's in the little things, little changes. You start gradually, you start slowly, and then you build momentum as you go. Don't overcomplicate things. Don't say, oh, I want to stop taking alcohol, and you just go cold turkey all of a sudden. You will crash as quickly as you started. So be mindful, be careful, be kind to yourself, be understanding to yourself, and you may falter every now and again. That's fine. That's human, that's normal. But then that self awareness and that clarity of purpose, that understanding will help you get back on track gently, because we're trying to make this a lifestyle. We're trying to ease ourselves into it. We're not trying to just, sleep like those funny, well, they're not funny, those makeovers I used to watch back in the day on, what's that channel? Is it TLC? I don't remember. But where they'll bring someone who dresses a certain way and they'll be like, oh, this tomboy, I want her to change and start dressing like a lady, or she hasn't had a date because guys are scared of her, blah blah blah. And then they'll go on this show, they'll change the hair, change the outfit, make the lady who was wearing sneakers wear heels, make her wear like big jewelry, and then all of a sudden we're thinking that by the next day, drastically, she's going to be a different person because it got her a few clothes. It doesn't work that way. It's in small changes lead to big results in the long run. It's a slow and steady game, honestly. That's always why I encourage people. Don't just go ham on the thing you want to do now. Give yourself time, gradually, slowly, remind yourself of the big picture. And then you see that 6 months from now, 1 year from now, you're a different person. 2 years from now, 3 years from now, you're a completely evolved person, and you're more in tune, more aligned to the vision you had for yourself than when you started. And in all of this, like I just alluded to, be kind to yourself, be gracious to yourself. Think of yourself like a precious vessel, a precious gift, and just take things slow. Don't self deprecate. Don't say, oh, I'm so stupid. I can't even be disciplined. I can't even do things right. Or what will people say after all this noise I've made? My darling, everybody's going through something, and in the long run nobody really cares about what you're going through or what you're trying to do for yourself. They are more focused on themselves, but it just seems like, oh, all eyes are on you because that's your perception of the world. But in the real sense of things, nobody really cares because they're so worried about themselves. The next time you worry about what other people think about you, think about what you think about those other people. You don't even really care what they do with their lives. Yeah, you might have some concern, but you're more worried about this thing you're trying to do. You're not sitting down thinking about, oh, I can't believe this person did this. And you're not taking that much space. They're not taking that much space in your head. So why do you think you take so much space in other people's heads? Always think about that. So if you're listening to this and you're aware that you struggle to say no to certain things, you struggle to take yourself out of inconvenient, uncomfortable situations, don't beat yourself up. Don't say, oh, I wish I knew better. It's a gradual process. Start from the little no's to yourself. It might be in private. It doesn't have to be a whole production with other people or trying to prove a point. You never try to prove a point to other people. Show up for yourself. So start saying no to yourself. I hope I haven't rambled on and you've actually picked a lesson that at the end of the day, discipline is twofold. One is saying yes to the things you need to say, and also learning to say no and being comfortable in saying no without feeling guilty, especially if it adds up to something productive, it adds up to a long-term goal, it adds up to good things. And I'll end with this very good example which I think everyone can relate to. Yeah, so a perfect example would be for children and caring for children. Children are very impulsive, they're very instinctive, they want to do the thing now, they want to jump, they want to eat all the things, all the sweet things, have candy, chocolates, ice cream. Although children these days are not so into that stuff, but that's a topic for another day. But generally, the impression is that children are always up for activity, they're always up for fun, they're always up to trying dangerous things without considering the consequences. But as adults, you tell them no. You don't tell them no because you don't want to hurt their feelings. You tell them no because you see the big picture. If you eat too much of this, your tummy is going to get hurt. You're going to have a tummy ache. Or if you run around this way, you could fall and harm yourself. Or if you play too much, you lose track of other things, where you're supposed to be learning, where you're supposed to be reading. But then you say no for their own good. So we should learn to say no to ourselves as well, for our own good. Set those boundaries. Just because you're an adult doesn't mean you should not treat yourself like a precious vessel that needs to be guided and guarded from negative things. So I hope you picked something useful from today's video, and there was not too much distraction with my audio or my scenery. Yeah, I was trying something different. So let me know in the comments what you feel about my new setting. Should I do more outdoor videos, or should I just stick to what we're used to? Let's just stay in what we're used to. Anyway, thank you so much and have a lovely, lovely week ahead. And I'll see you next time. Bye. Yeah? Yeah. Okay, thank you.